The human brain is not static. It's dynamic, adaptable, and constantly reshaping itself in response to what you do, what you focus on, and even what you resist. One of the most powerful discoveries in neuroscience is the concept of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire its neural circuits based on repeated behavior and intentions. This means that your ability to focus, no matter how scattered or inconsistent it may feel right now, is not a fixed trait. It's a trainable skill. It's a system built on neurons that get stronger the more you use them and weaker the more you ignore them. Focus, biologically speaking, is the outcome of top-down control from your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, decision-making, and regulating attention. When you deliberately choose to attend to one task, blocking out distractions and returning your mind when it wanders, you're activating and strengthening this top-down system. Each time you bring your attention back from a distraction, even if it's 10 times in 10 minutes, you're doing a kind of mental repetition. It's like lifting a weight for your attention muscle. Those repetitions compound. They carve deeper pathways in your brain, making it easier to access a state of focus the next time you sit down to work. And the process is measurable. Neuroscience research using functional MRI and EEG studies shows that people who engage regularly in deliberate focus activities, deep work, meditation, breath work, or even just consistent practice at a skill, begin to show stronger synchrony in the brain's attention networks. These people are not just born focused. They've trained their biology to serve their intention. Now, here's where it gets more powerful. This training effect isn't just about doing more or being more productive. It's about upgrading how your nervous system functions under pressure. In today's world, your attention is under constant assault. Notifications, social media, emails, noise, opinions, stimulation, it all competes for your neural bandwidth. But if you can condition your brain to lock in despite the chaos, you're not just getting ahead, you're evolving the very mechanism that separates people who talk about winning from those who actually wins. This is where habits become neural programs. If every time you face discomfort, you lean toward distractions, you teach your brain that focus equals pain and escape equals relief. But if you stay with the task, especially during the hard moments, you invert that response. You start to associate effort with satisfaction. You begin to experience what psychologists call flow, a state where your mind and body align for maximum output and minimal resistance. But you can't access flow without training. And you can't train without frictions. The early stages of developing deep focus often feel uncomfortable. Your brain will try to pull away. That's not a sign of failure. That's the exact moment when change is happening. It's important to understand that just like any other skill, physical strength, endurance, language learning, training your focus takes consistency. But the good news is you don't need hours a day. even 10 to 20 minutes of sustained, intentional focus on one task without switching sends powerful rewiring signals to your brain. Over time, those short windows compound. You start noticing less reactivity. You find it easier to resist interruptions. Your stress tolerance improves. Your thoughts become clearer. And all of this happens because you've made a decision not to let your attention be dictated by your environment, but to take conscious control of it through repeated training. Distraction isn't just a habit. It's hardwired into your biology. The human brain evolved in an environment where paying attention to every new sound, movement, or change in the surroundings could mean the difference between survival and death. This survival mechanism has not disappeared. It's been repurposed by the modern world, by devices, notifications, scrolling feeds, and the overwhelming input of digital life. So when you find yourself reaching for your phone in the middle of a task or switching tabs compulsively, it's not because you lack willpower. It's because your biology is following an ancient algorithm. Pay attention to novelty because it might be important. The challenge, then tears, isn't just motivational. It's neurological. You have to override a system that rewards you with dopamine every time you switch your attention. Dopamine is a powerful neurotransmitter that signals reward and makes you feel good. The moment you check a notification or scroll to something new, your brain gets a little hit of it. The problem is this short burst of dopamine creates a feedback loop. The more you follow distractions, the more your brain learns to seek them out as a source of pleasure or relief. Over time, you build a reward circuit around avoidance instead of achievement. To change this, you have to become intentional about what you reward. That means interrupting the cycle. One of the fastest ways to do this is through deliberate behavioral protocols that send a signal to your nervous system. We are shifting into a mode of deep work. One powerful method is controlling your visual focus. When your eyes are darting around or constantly shifting, your brain stays in a state of alertness, what neuroscientists call a high autonomic arousal state. But when you narrow your visual field, literally fixing your gaze on a single point, like a word on a page or the center of a screen, you send calming signals to your brain through a system called the retino-hypothalamic pathway. This isn't abstract, it's physical. Vision drives cognition. Narrow your gaze, and you prime your mind for focus. You also need to manage your internal environment. Your thoughts can be just as distracting as your surroundings. Every time your brain brings up a memory, an idea, or a worry, it's testing you. It's asking, is this more important than what you're doing right now? And the answer has to be trained. You don't ignore those thoughts. You acknowledge them and return your focus, just like training a muscle through repeated effort. Neuroscientific studies of meditation, for example, have shown that the act of returning your attention over and over is what builds cognitive control. You're not failing when your mind wanders. You're building strength when you bring it back. Distraction, in this sense, becomes a training ground.